And you just heard Just for Clicks with your host, Michael Buckheiser. That is me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And join me tomorrow, same time, same place, rtfsportsnetwork.com, right here on the noon hour, East Coast time.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com. The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com. The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
And you just heard Just for Clicks with your host, Michael Buckheiser. That is me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And join me tomorrow, same time, same place, rtfsportsnetwork.com, right here on the noon hour, East Coast time.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
Coming up next here on the RTFSportsNetwork.com radio network is Beyond the Arc with your host, Brian Snow. NBA talk for the next hour. Enjoy.
Today, every answer matters more than ever before. Because whether it's about health, deliveries, or finance, some things just can't wait. That's why IBM is helping businesses manage millions of calls, texts, and chats with Watson Assistant. It's conversational AI designed to help your customers find the answers they need faster, no matter the industry. Let's put smart to work. Visit ibm.com/Watson Assistant to learn more.
Welcome to the latest episode of Dad's Watching Sports. It is episode 18. It's the week of June 7th, 2020. Yes, it is still 20. It feels like it's been 5 years, and it's only been a handful of months here in this year. Thank you so much for joining Dad's Watching Sports. We hope you enjoy our show. We hope you are checking us out in all the different platforms, and we'll kind of get to those here in just a little bit. Michael Draper, Kyle Castles, as always, and as you know, we always have guests from time to time on the show. We're going to get to our guests in just a minute, but if you haven't checked out our show before and you're checking us out for the first time, you know, we talk a little bit about some sports, some of the biggest things going on in sports, some other topics in sports as we'll get to tonight, but then also about our lives as dads and things in our household, because we all have kids, a lot of them under the age of 5, and, you know, as you guys can imagine, if you're listening to the show, you probably know things get a little crazy, and we like to talk about that. We'd like for you to relate to some of the things that we have going on in our lives as dads, and we are very glad to have you guys a part of our show. As I mentioned, a lot of the times we have some special guests along the way. Sometimes it's just the three amigos, but a lot of times we bring in some special guests along the way, and tonight is no different. We have Chris LeBron of Off the Ball podcast joining us. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, some of the hobbies, favorite sports teams, and then we'll get into your show specifically here in just a little bit.
First of all, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate being on. But I got two little ones. I got a 7-year-old and a 8-month-old, and you guys know how crazy kids are and stuff, So I just finished putting my daughter to sleep. I was actually listening to Moana, singing some Moana. So that put her right to sleep. My singing puts her to sleep, so that's good to know. So yeah, it's fun. I got a 7-year-old too, who's he's a ball of energy, and I'm actually going to get to see him next week, so I'm looking forward to that. But love sports. Big sports fan. Worked in for a sports agency, and I was an advisor, and just did some small contracts, nothing crazy, but did that, and just then I had my son, so I kind of had to stop, because being an agent, you gotta have a lot of money to give to these guys so they could spend. And I said, if I can't be in it somehow, maybe I could talk about it. I just started. I said, you know what? Let me try the podcasting. Let me see. I like talking sports. Let's figure this out. Did it a few times. Had a co-host. Didn't work out. They just weren't consistent. And I was like, I was like, hey, let's record today. Oh, I don't know. I was like, dude, we were gonna do this. Didn't work out. So then I tried by myself. Could never just didn't have the time at that time. And then I took some time off. Didn't really just started working to whatever, just being a dad and stuff. And then I just one day just said, you know what? I really like talking sports. It's something I do. We do on a, you do it on a regular without even. So I just said, let me just go at it again. So I just went at it. I figured out. I love basketball. Always. I'm a big literally off the ball. I love when people play off the ball. So that's why I was like, all right, we'll put that together. I talk sports. I like basketball. Let's put off the ball. And nice. I just went with it, and this is what it's been. I started talking about everything. Then I went to just strictly basketball, because people like how I talk about basketball, getting very, X's and O's and all that. I would really dabble into it a lot. So I started talking basketball, but then obviously the whole coronavirus happened, and then there's no more basketball. There's no more nothing. So I'm like, damn, man, I was just trying to get – I was like, you know what? Let me just start talking about everything pretty much. So I started getting fantasy football guys on the show, some draft, NFL draft, because I was around the draft time, NFL draft. So yeah. I started getting some draft guys. And I just said, you know what? I'll just stick to just talking about everything. But, I do mostly – the basis is, mostly basketball and stuff, and I've had some NBA draft guys, prospects on the show, which has been cool. Some insiders on the show. So it's been fun doing this. It's a lot of work, especially when you're doing it by yourself. And you got to do all the pre-recording, making sure, all the, my notes are good, and then making sure the audio is good and all that. And then promoting and making sure the guests are good and all that stuff, editing. So, it's a lot of work, but it's fun when you finish and then people hit you up and say, it's a dope show. So, that's always cool to hear, random people from wherever hit you up and say, your show was great. I love, especially I had a show on with a guy who wrote the life of Michael Jordan, and his stories were just tremendous. Yeah, that was fun. He was talking about, talking with Jordan, being on court with Jordan, talking about his life, and he also wrote about Kobe too. And we talked about Kobe Bryant, and it's crazy. There's one part of that interview where he talks about Kobe and Jordan, and they have a coach that they both really they use a lot, and the coach would go fly up to Kobe. And then they would go on the helicopter, the same helicopter that unfortunately Kobe passed on. And there's a piece in the interview where he's like, the guy would go, and he's like, he would go on that damn helicopter with Kobe Bryant. But the way he says it, it's like you feel it. And everyone told me like, yo, I felt that part. because it's like the way he said it, he was just, it was painful for him to say, damn, that damn helicopter. I was like, wow, that was powerful. And I got a lot of good feedback from that, because that was I felt that I had to stop for a second and like oh wow, like the same helicopter that he perished in. I mean, this guy was on the plane with Kobe. It's I love stories like that when I do podcasting too. It's fun to help tell stories and stuff, and so it's been fun. I love this, and can continue to try to put out solid content, and it's just been a blast. It's been a blast.
That's awesome, man. He's Chris LeBron joining us on this week's Dad's Watching Sports. If you haven't subscribed to us yet in Apple Podcasts, go ahead and do that. If you haven't checked us out on the RTF Sports Network, you can check us out every Monday at noon Central on RTF Sports Network. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, and interact with the show as much as you would like. We'd love for you to email us as well. Guys, before we get into some sports talk, I've got a couple of family stories that I just had to share. And one's I'm going to put a little poll out to you guys as well as put it on Twitter. So we recently, my daughter's 3. She started riding her bike. She's enjoyed riding her bike. She literally asks 5 or 6 times a day, let me go ride my bike. Can we please go ride our bike? I also have a bike. And we recently bought one of those little trailer things, you can put behind your bike for a smaller child to ride in. So we've got our 1-year-old in the trailer. My wife we've been looking for her bike, but COVID strikes again, and there are no bikes out there. So my wife is borrowing my mother-in-law's bike today. So you got me on my bike. I'm pulling the little guy in the trailer. Emma, our daughter, is riding her bike. My wife is riding hers. We're thinking, this is going to be great. It's a family fun day. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do a family bike ride. We get out, do a little bit of riding, and then we decide to try to head back home. And to say our 3-year-old lost her mind is an understatement. That fun family bike ride just turned south in a minute, and it's just a constant reminder of there are no guarantees with 3-year-olds or 2-year-olds or under 2-year-olds. You think, this is going to be great. We're promising popsicles, we're promising no nap time, we're promising all these things. Just make it back to the house without crying. And the last, quarter of a mile, Dad, I'm walking my bike, pulling the kid behind me, holding her bike, and she's walking, crying the rest of the way home. And it was just, it went from being something so much fun to something that was just such a headache. But again, just a kind of a constant reminder of you just never know how things are going to go when you have small children. The next thing, guys, that I wanted to bring up is, so last night, it was on Saturday night, my wife went out with some friends. So I'm at home alone. The kids are already in bed, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, I need something to do. There's no sports on. I've watched about every binge-worthy TV show on Netflix or Amazon or whatever you want to say, whatever network you want to go with. And I'm thinking, you know what? Now is the time to really start pushing Kyle for a PlayStation, because I haven't had one in a long time. My wife is, we constantly kind of joke back and forth about, hey, we should get a PlayStation. I can throw in FIFA or something when the kids are asleep, and they usually get shot down real fast. So, guys, I need a little bit of advice here. What's Kyle? I'll go to you first. What's my argument for a PlayStation? Because I need one, man. It's time.
So, I'm going to try and keep this as G-rated as possible.
Please do.
You have
Family-friendly show.
Absolutely. What you have to do is you have to take those nights and go into the bedroom and wake her up asking for some fun time. And if you wake her up enough asking for fun time, you can go, hey, I wouldn't have to do this if I had.
I see what you're doing there. Yep.
And if she doesn't say no to the fun time, at least you get fun time, right?
Yeah, it seems like a win-win.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win situation, man. Yeah, because it's like, come on. I know I'm a grown man, and I know sometimes grown men don't need video games, but at the end of the day, once the kids are in bed, there's nothing else going on. I just want to put some FIFA in or put some, whatever I know they don't have NCAA football anymore, but, whatever the game is now, man, it's tough. Chris, what's your recommendation there?
Speaking of NCAA, I actually trying to find a copy today, and then somebody hit me up. Oh, I'll sell it to you for $150. I was like, nah, I'm good. I was like, nah, I don't need it that bad, because I have it, but it's scratched up. So, but as far as the PlayStation thing, luckily my girl, she likes playing PlayStation with me, and we play
Okay.
FIFA, and so
Nice.
it kind of works out. So plus I had it before we got together, so it comes with. And look, she likes video games. I was like, wow, she's the one. she's the one. So it made it easy. It was a smooth transition. It wasn't like, oh my god, you play video games, blah blah blah. And so she plays FIFA with me. She doesn't beat me a lot. I win a lot. We play 2K. I beat her by 100 one game. I really went in. I shouldn't have went that in, but when you just gotta show her that I could do this good.
That's right. Well, I got to preface this by saying my wife is not anti-video game. I'll be honest. We have some pretty hardcore Super Mario Kart on Nintendo 64 matches, and she beats me a lot. I'll give her credit, honey. I know you're listening, and I know you're probably mad right now, but I will give you props. You beat me in Mario Kart, and I take you out in GoldenEye. But yeah, so
classic.
Twitter poll is going up right after this show to see should my wife. I'm not going to say allow because she would allow it, but will she be okay with a PlayStation coming into our household? I think she will. Without a doubt.
I think so.
All right, guys, let's shift gears to some sports. We've got just a few minutes before a break, so we won't have a whole lot of time to really get into this in depth, but we'll come back after the break and really get into it. The NBA is back. It's not officially back, but it is coming back. We've gotten all the details. It sounds like it's going to be awesome. I am super excited that this is happening. So what it looks like is July 31st is the date. They've got a 22-team format where it's going to be 16 playoff teams along with 6 other teams that are kind of fighting for those last couple of spots in the playoffs. They're going to be at the Wild Water Sports, Disney Wild Water Sports there in Orlando. It looks like over the next couple of weeks, teams are going to be going back to their cities to essentially get all their players, all their personnel, everybody together. Then they're going to go to Orlando, quarantine for a couple of weeks, and then get things started. The timeline looks like as if every series went to the max and Game 7 of the NBA Finals was something that happened, it would take place October 12th. So we'd be going basketball all the way into halfway through October. And then the teams that don't participate will be getting together at some point in time over the next 6 months to do some sort of like OTA type training camps where they're at least getting some action in. The date that they've got set for the NBA draft lottery is in late August, with the draft taking place just a few nights after the season ends, October 15th. And we'll get into some of the standings before right after this break. But we're going to have to go to break in just a second. But guys, I am hugely excited about this. We finally have something concrete that we can hang our hat on and say sports are coming back on this date. We got 30 seconds. Kyle, just a very quick take on your excitement for NBA, and then we'll get into the details after the break.
Woo!
Yep, absolutely. Chris, I know you're a longtime Knicks fan. It's not an exciting season that's coming back, but it's an NBA season. What's your quick take on it?
Man, I'm excited for ball. I mean, even though the Knicks are trash, I'm still happy basketball is coming back very soon.
Absolutely. Well, we got to go to a quick break. We will be right back after that break to talk all things NBA. Plus, we're going to get into some of the stuff that Chris does on his website and a part of his podcast. So we'll be right back on Dad's Watching Sports. Thanks for checking out this week's episode of Dad's Watching Sports. We hope you subscribe to our show in Apple Podcast app as well, or wherever you listen to podcasts. But are you following us on social media? Now, whether your thing is Facebook, Twitter, the Gram, YouTube, or yes, even TikTok, you can find some great dad content on all of our pages. Now, enough of this nonsense. We just need to pay Kirk's PlayStation internet bill. Now, back to the show with Matt, Kyle, Michael, and all the fun of Dad's Watching Sports. Welcome back to Dad's Watching Sports. It's a show all about sports in our lives as dads. We appreciate you checking us out. It is the week of June 7th, 2020. This is episode 18 of Dad's Watching Sports. Michael Draper, Kyle Castles, and this week we are joined by Chris LeBron of the Off the Ball podcast. Chris has been talking to us a lot about basketball, and we're going to get in depth on some NBA stuff, and we'll talk a little bit about his show and some other things that are going on with his show and his website here in just a minute. But guys, we talked NBA's coming back. They've set kind of the firm details. There's no more question. It's coming back. So let's just kind of toss it out there. If you had to go on the record right now of who you feel like is the favorite for the NBA this season, Chris, who you have as the favorite? Are you going chalk with where the standings stand so far?
I think it's the Lakers. they played great, especially towards when obviously when COVID ended the season, postponed the season. They were playing tremendous. They beat Milwaukee, beating the Clippers. It just seemed like they were really gelling. And with everything going on, not just with COVID with them, but the loss of Kobe Bryant, it just seemed like LeBron was just playing at another level. And he was climbing back, and the MVP was Giannis. Like, he would look like he was going to be unanimous. He was going to be, I think Curry was the first unanimous. He would have been second, but LeBron really is coming on strong. And I just like the way their team is built. They, with Anthony Davis also, he's an MVP candidate as well. They definitely top three. Giannis, LeBron, and AD. That might be the top three. MVP. Voting, and I have Anthony Davis winning Defensive Player of the Year. So I like the way their team is built. They got Green from Toronto last year. He's a sharpshooter. Caldwell Pope. They got Dwight Howard playing great in his in his limited minutes. He gets to play. He gets to have an impact and not have be the take the load to being the face of a franchise. And I knew he really wanted to come back to the Lakers, and really that first stint there was so hyped that with Kobe and Nash, and then Nash obviously was broken down and he pretty much retired after that. Kobe was at the at the decline, and then Dwight was his back. He was just never healthy, and that Lakers team really busted. But he's playing great. They got a lot of size. Kuzma started coming on too. Rondo's played well. It just seems like it's fate. With the Lakers. It just seems like with everything going on, and doing this for Kobe, and it feels like they're playing the best basketball of any team. Milwaukee struggled big time. They lost 3 in a row before, and it just seems like Giannis he's doing too much. He has to do too much for them to really be successful. And the way what happened last year in the playoffs, where Toronto just pretty much built the wall and said you can't shoot, so we're just going to build a wall, and you're not even going to get to the hole before you even drive. We're going to block it. So and that worked out, and then that's what I worry about with Milwaukee. And the Clippers, who are another team. They have the most talent. The Clippers, their bench is the best bench, but it just seemed like they're not clicking for some reason. I know they got the injuries. Kawhi is banged up, and Paul George is banged up, but it just seems like they just weren't clicking. And maybe this layoff helps them, but maybe it doesn't. So that's going to be the interesting thing to see is basketball players, you need to work out and play every day, to get that rhythm. So we might see a lot of ugly games. We might see a lot of 90 style games where it's 78 to 84. We might see some pretty ugly games. So that's going to be interesting to see, how fast they can get back to normalcy and play at a up tempo pace, because it's, that's how the game is now. But it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle, the standings as of right now, and these will be the standings going into this 22-team format. In the East, you got the Bucks, the Raptors, the Celtics, the Heat, the Pacers, the 76ers, all in the playoff. You got the Nets and the Magic as the 7 and 8 seed, with the Wizards really the only team to have a chance to get back in there. In the West, it's a little bit different story. You got the Lakers at 1, the Clippers, Nuggets, Jazz, Oklahoma City, and then Houston are in. Dallas and Memphis are the 7 and 8, but then you've got Portland, New Orleans, Sacramento, and San Antonio, and even Phoenix that for however unlikely it is, still has at least a little bit of a shot to get into the playoffs. So as you hear those teams that are in, who's your favorite, and then who do you have matching up in the NBA Finals as we kind of get to this format?
So this is really hard because we don't know, right? This as long of a layoff as we've had, if we can look at kind of the way they were playing in what, February, March, but that was February, March. We're in June now, right? We're talking about the end of July when they come back. The teams that were gelled and teams that were clicking in March are not going to be clicking, or doesn't mean they're going to be clicking in August. So it really just, I think the favorite has to be the Lakers. Chris, you said it. LeBron's just out of his mind. or he was there at the end before COVID. So as long as he comes back playing the way he did, AD does what he does on the defensive end, and they keep getting quality minutes out of the guys you mentioned, Kuzma and Dwight Howard and the like, I think the Lakers have to be the favorite. Prediction-wise, because you don't have the cohesive season, there's been this breakdown. I think that just unmatched athleticism and talent is going to kind of win out, and that's why I have the Lakers and the Bucks. I know it's chalk, but Lakers and Bucks in the finals because Giannis will do what he does, LeBron will do what he does with his parts, and I think the Lakers pull it out in 6.
Okay, yeah, that's a not so bold prediction, but hey, I mean, again, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Is in this scenario, you are probably going to see the more talented teams, kind of the cream of the crop rise to the top without a doubt. I agree with you guys in terms of I think the obvious favorite is LA. And it could be either team. I think if you look at those are probably the two best teams. But I do think that because of that adds a lot of extra pressure because it's almost like, okay, this is LeBron and the Lakers to lose. So I'm going to go a little off the wall. And I say off the wall, I mean, they're both in the top 3 of their own of the conferences. But in terms of the NBA Finals, I'm taking Doc Rivers playing his old team, and I've got the Clippers and the Celtics making it to the NBA Finals. I think the Celtics were –
Homer.
Well, but I'm not even really a Celtics fan anymore, man. When we moved back to Tennessee, I went all in on the Grizzlies, John Morant.
Good up-and-coming team.
That's right. But I really think the Clippers, Kawhi's been there, Doc's been there before. I think that they are set up to dethrone LeBron, and I think there's going to be so much pressure, and it's going to be those two in the Western Conference Finals. It's just kind of shaping up that way. And then the Celtics kind of the same way, man. They really started to gel as things were heading down the stretch there before things really got kind of interrupted. And I think that they are really just kind of ready to make a push. I'm not a believer in the Raptors after what they lost last year. I know it's, as Rudy T said back in '95, it's hard to beat a champion or never underestimate the heart of a champion. But I don't think the Raptors are going to get there. And I think people will look and see what the Raptors did last year with Giannis in the playoffs, or Giannis, or however you say it, Kyle. And I think the Celtics will pack it in and make the rest of the team beat them in the playoffs. So I'm going Clippers and Celtics. Chris, any predictions from you going into this format for an NBA final?
Yeah, you know what? I was kind of hoping they would go like an international play, like group style, because out of every sport, basketball is kind of chalk. Like if you think about it, it's usually the top 2 seeds in each conference are usually going to make it to the finals. And a group stage would have, it would have changed up a little. We might see Memphis or New Orleans maybe make a run. That could have been interesting because, I think we like to see that David versus Goliath aspect. And in basketball, we never really get that. We don't. Once in a while, you'll see a 1-8, but it's usually because, like with Chicago lost to Sixers because Derrick Rose got hurt. The Knicks beat the Heat back in '99. It was the lockout season, so were Miami really the best team? So and I think Denver beat Seattle years ago.
Yep.
But Mutombo. So it's I would have liked to have seen that because you can no. But it would have been interesting to see that aspect. But as far as with this current format, like you picked Boston to win, that means Milwaukee obviously going to make it, and that puts so much pressure on them because Giannis is a free agent after next year.
Yeah.
So that just puts so much pressure on them. They have the most pressure out of any team. If the Lakers don't win, you could say, oh, look, LeBron, too much layoff. He's older. He just, it happened. But Milwaukee, if they don't win, they have so much pressure because now they got to figure out how do we keep him because he hasn't signed an extension or anything. And, you don't want to lose, you're in a small town, you're not a big market. To lose Giannis, who's the face of the franchise, that's tough. That's tough to recover from. And, we've seen from other teams, it's hard to recover when you lose a superstar. The Cavs, every time they lose LeBron, they're the worst team ever. So, so it's going to be interesting to see. But if I had to pick right now, I'm going to go Bucks versus the Lakers, and the Lakers winning the whole thing.
Okay. So we got 2 Bucks, Lakers, and 1 Clippers, Celtics. We'll come back to that
in October and figure out who may have had a correct prediction. Guys, we're going to switch it up a little bit. I know it does sound so weird. We're supposed to be getting ready for NBA Finals right now, or NBA playoffs, like right in the thick of it, and we're looking at a fall playoff round. It's going to be weird. But, guys, let's switch it up a little bit. We'll get back to some NBA, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about a list that you put together, Chris, for your website about the top 25 NBA players of all time and what you thought they were. But let's just switch it up just from a content standpoint, just talk about something a little bit different. Kyle, I know you're very excited to get into this. So, Chris, you put out a list on your website, which is theofftheballpodcast.com, about your top 50 wrestlers of all time. Now, I think I mentioned to you in an email, I'm not a huge wrestling fan. Used to be a diehard fan when I was a kid. Kyle is kind of the same way. He's kept up